YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back on Total War Rome 2, and I'm going to have some more online action. I'm going to skip a couple of battles and kind of intersperse some of these in here, because recently I've actually played a couple of battles against Chadney. I actually ended up playing 3 battles against this, whatever it is, Memcan, from Wolf Clan, I guess. So I played 3 against him, and I'll just kind of intersperse them with other battles, so that way it's not me versus the same player for several battles in a row. But I wanted to show you this first one that we played. I brought kind of an experimental army here, which is horse spam, basically, with Baktria. It can work against Parthia in the sense that your Baktria Noble Horse are going to be better than their Noble Blood Cav, and their Cataphracts are not going to be super effective after the charge versus your heavy melee horsemen. But I think that I see a lot of Parthian players recently who bring still a lot of Cataphracts. I'll just call him Wolf here. So Wolf, in this case, he made a better choice by bringing more Noble Blood Cav. It's going to make this army of mine a little more difficult to use. And to be honest, instead of this Hellenic Cataphract, I should have just opted probably for something different. But these guys can be useful. And I have 6 Horse Archers. And basically the point of this is to be able to put extreme pressure on enemy cavalry. Foot Skirmishers, he has 4 of them, or 3 of them. It's Parthian Foot Archers. They can pretty much handle this many Horse Archers, or at least do them a lot of damage in the process. Let's take a look at his army. He's got 4 Parthian swords, which I'm not really particularly scared of. It's his cavalry that concerns me, and he does have a lot of it. He has more melee cav than I had hoped he would. His elephants were not really a huge concern for me because I have enough Horse Archers if need be, and I also have my own elephants, which are armored. So Parthia is at a disadvantage to Baktria in that sense, but they also have an advantage of their own, which is these Noble Horse Archers, where you can put your general. This is actually a pretty sturdy unit. Decent in melee, and can kind of keep a distance. Shoot fire arrows at elephants, help bring down elephants with standard shot after that. I mean, they're just decent units in general. So my opponent sees what I'm doing, and he's going to move closer to these woods because he needs cover from the arrow fire. And that's why this army right here, I should have only used it on open ground. Using this, I guess using this particular... I think Devil Matt's making fun of the Pirates and Raiders deal. Seems like he's got the same opinion that a lot of people do, that these DLCs are just units that were mostly in the game. But, you know, I don't know. I don't want to get into that big discussion right now. But in any case, back to the battle. I hate these snow maps, too, because you can't see the dang arrows when they're firing, so it's almost impossible to see when your Horse Archers are firing. And I think I'm doing fine now, putting pressure on his flank, but he's going to keep doing what he should, which is backing up towards the forest where he's got better cover. And he's got a hill advantage, too. And I'm pretty sure that in all 3 battles he was the host, which I think means that he got to see my army before everyone started, which is irritating that that bug's still there. I've got 2 Bactrian Light Horse, too, just trying to put some pressure behind him. All I really need is the right moment, and if I get the right moment, I can charge his Parthian swordsmen with a few of my cav, eliminate them, buy my elephants a distraction in order to get them in, and finish off his own cavalry and his own elephants I can deal with my Horse Archers. Kind of the general plan. It's not going to come off real easy, though, because my opponent's not going to make it easy for me, nor should he. So he keeps his archers in position. I guess probably putting a couple of my Horse Archers on either flank would have been better rather than running as a blob. I've done them as a blob before, and it's worked alright, but in this case I feel like because I've got them all in one group, it's easier for my opponent to react, when I actually think that I should have run 3 on this flank and 3 on this flank. It would have split up his archers and then allowed me to maybe get more shots on his Noble Blood Cav. Because to be honest, these guys would be a prime target. As many of these guys as I could kill, I should, because that's his really only defense against my army. Most of the other stuff he has isn't really a good defense against my Bactrian Noble. My Bactrian Nobles have slightly lower attack than his cav, but they have considerably more armor. And I think melee defense as well. So they would win in a head-on fight, all things equal. He's got, let's see, his own unit of Horse Archers and his Noble Blood Cav. They're probably going to try and make for my elephants, but I'm keeping my elephants in the woods for now, where they'll be safe from his arrows. I'm going to keep putting pressure on this flank from the woods. His men are firing in. They won't be very effective firing into the woods, but this unit's kind of on the outside here, and it's taken a lot of fire. Here I did kill a considerable number of his Parthian Foot Archers, and I'm going to pull back. If I would continue to do this, Actually, his Parthian foot archers would be a good target too, but the problem is even if I take these guys out, he's still got his noble horse archer and his regular horse archer that can deal with my elephants, so I'm going to have to be careful of that. I'm just going to keep my distance. There's no need for me to engage so close to his support, as I'm not ready to attack yet, but being heir, I do decide to get hasty. I don't like to sit back and play it the right way sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and lead an attack uphill. It's a risky business, but I'm feeling somewhat confident in the army I have here. It's not going to be easy for my opponent to stop, but it would be possible, that's for sure. So I'm just kind of running around, getting a feel for how he's going to react. He wants his elephants in with my cav, that's understandable. And he wants to keep some of his own cav back here to counter my 3 Bactrian nobles on this side. It's a good thing he brought a lot of cav in this battle. He brought just as much melee cav as I did, which was a very good choice, because if he hadn't, he would have been in really rough shape here, I think. And basically, I've spent more money on elephants and horse archers. That's the biggest difference, where he spent some money on infantry, and I believe his noble blood cav's a little cheaper than my own. So I'm going to go ahead and just push these worthless eastern spearmen forward to just distract, get in the way, basically, soak up a charge, whatever I need him to do. And I'm going to keep probing for a good attack angle. My opponent's bringing up his elephants here. He's going to want to get into these horsemen with him, and I'm not going to let that happen, because that would just be a waste of my horsemen. So I'm going to pull back out of there again. And then right here, I feel like my opponent had somewhat of a weakness with these swordsmen. Felt like we could maybe finish them off. This is where I don't like what he did. He got into these cataphracts from the side, which was a good move. So he's pinned my cataphracts here, and they're not going to do a whole lot of good. Here, his Parthian swordsmen go into shield wall in time, and I should have just pulled through after the charge. Yeah, if I would have just pulled through after the charge and gone to his foot archers, that would have been the right thing. A heavy horse like the Bactrian horse shouldn't have a hard time plowing on through. But you can see that that bracing bonus actually really helped this unit absorb the charge from my Bactrian nobles, and it slows the number of kills that my horsemen are getting. So it was a good way to shield his swords from my my cav charge, which would have otherwise been quite excruciating for him. But my armored elephants are going to go ahead and come on in, and they will tank out this fight. Over here, see that Bactrian horse just routes too soon, threw it in without any support. Same thing here, threw it in too soon. He was doing fine against his cataphracts, but it was just too close to the support of the enemy units. So really my attack here was just a little bit hasty, all things considered. Just going to slow down this Parthian swordsman with my eastern spearmen. That's the only reason I brought those guys, was for fodder. Didn't expect them to do a whole lot else. And then as soon as my elephants were here, I should have pulled these cataphracts out of this fight as well. Disengaging in the same direction's fine. So like I brought my elephants in from here. I should have disengaged the cataphracts this way, and then I might have been able to charge into the back of this fight. And these fights over here, after this initial charge here, like I said, I should have pushed forward into his archers. He would have tried to stop me for sure, but when he brought this cav to try and stop me, I could have come in, you know, further from this flank. There's a lot of things that I could have done here. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, but didn't. So, yeah. In any case, like I said, my elephants will tank out this fight. The problem is that he's going to start pouring some archer fire into my elephants, and this is bad. My guys are armored, but there's only so much shooting they can take, and even though there's just a few bushes here, it actually gives his guys some really excellent cover from my arrows. That's why I don't suggest doing this on a map with any degree of forest on it. That's going to make these guys more effective, because all my opponent has to do is just stay in the scrub over here, and even just the scrub will protect him from arrows. And now my elephants run amok, so for once I finally do disengage a unit when I should. You can see me yank this Bactrian noble horse out of combat so that my elephants that are running amok can finish off his swordsmen, hopefully. And then I think I even engaged the trample on my armored elephants here in a minute. And then I'm going to go ahead and go for his general and his skirmishers over here with this Bactrian noble horse. Yeah. But my opponent's winning in most vicinities. It's a fairly close fight, but he's going to have some tools left when this is over. He's still got 2 horse archer units. He's still got a few foot archer units, which is trouble for me. And he's got more melee cav left at this point than me, because he was able to support his melee cav better than I did. And I've got a few regrouped units, and my elephants are going to tank out a few more kills. They didn't get a ton of kills. Most of their kills came against cavalry and against his own elephants. So they were useful in the sense that they got rid of the Parthian elephants, but they cost more than the Parthian elephants and didn't get a whole lot of kills beyond that. other than stomping out a few Parthian swordsmen, which means that these guys were generally speaking not worth it in this battle. So that, I mean, it is a big risk when you bring armored elephants. You have to make sure that they can be used properly. And my opponent did the good job of running these guys amok and then switching over to standard shot to bring them down. So thought he did really well there. Yeah, and at this point I've lost all of my cavalry and I don't have enough ammo left with my horse archers. They've been shooting a lot, but again, even just this little bit of scrub cover here is enough to protect his men almost entirely. My shots are going to do almost nothing. So my opponent was right to get his men up here in the forest. It gives him a safety zone. And even if I pulled away at this point and tried to drag him out onto open ground, it wouldn't have done any good. Earlier in the battle would have been the time to pull him out onto open ground. Use my horse archers to fire and retreat and try and drag him more into open ground where he wouldn't have had cover in the trees. So in this case, I think it's just a matter of I was just too hasty. Just too hasty. And I think we called good game at this point, but I'm going to go ahead and, you know, even when I call a good game, I'm going to finish the game. I don't intend to usually give up until it's over. Not that I expect to win, but just give me an opportunity to give my opponent as much fight as I can give him. And I think my horse archers were off fire at will for a second. I turned them back on. Did get a pretty good volley into the back of those swordsmen, but the swordsmen are the least of my concern. He's got 4 noble blood cab that survived the fight. Some of them got a little bit beat up, but it's fine. He's got all he needs, and even his noble horse archer at this point is a very tough cab unit. So yeah, my archers, if they had enough ammo, could potentially help me win this, but as long as he stays in the wood, he has no worry, and you can see that that's what he's going to do. He's just going to be patient, stay in the woods, and I'll just take a few more pot shots. He had this other horse archer over here in reserve for most of the battle. He's now brought it in, so these guys are going to have a lot of ammo. They must be in heavy... Oh, he used precision shot. I was wondering why the damage was so high. Yeah, he used precision shot. So, pushed his base damage up on the missiles. And like I said, just don't have enough ammo, and especially to be wasting it on horse archers at this point. But if I don't waste it on the horse archers, they're gonna get me. His Parthian foot archers have a little bit of ammo left, so like I said, just not enough ammo to finish this fight. Should have just used my elephants better, been a little more patient with my attack, and I think by using my elephants better, and for instance, his elephants came into the fight first, and rather than committing my elephants there, let's think about it. The smart thing would have been to just started to try and disengage my cav from his elephants, bring my horse archers up to drop a huge volley of flaming missiles. It would run them amok. I could then pull my units back and continue to lay down fire on his men with my horse archers. That would have helped in the center, and then that would have freed my own elephants maybe for a later point in the game. But I think the biggest problem is I just engaged my melee cav improperly. And even though they were superior to his own, he had better support, and I should have taken my time to try and kite him away from the hill. So, well played to Wolf there. It's an interesting learning here to kind of see how these units interact with each other. In the battle, it was lagging a little bit, and it was, you know, you're in the middle of fighting, so I always like watching the replay to see how the units get in there and interact a little so that you kind of learn some lessons about the mechanics of it. But, yeah, neither one of our elephants, I mean, mine got more kills, but in all honesty, both of our elephants were worthless, but his noble horse archer here did a fantastic job in that battle. I'd say it was one of the MVPs. His noble blood cab didn't get a ton of kills, but they got the job done. And check this out, a Parthian swordsman with that many kills in that fight, those guys did great. It was probably against Eastern Spearmen, though, but still, did fine. Cataphracts on both teams didn't do anything. So, yeah, interesting to see here. Hope you all enjoyed that battle. HeirofCarthage signing off for now.